What's good, Philly Freak Nation? Hopefully, y'all are doing well and having yourselves a very, very fantastic day. The name is Jason Joseph. This is Play by Play with JJ, but we're doing some Phillies film session with JJ, and I also probably should have added some film and data session. I really should have titled that. But before I break everything down, all right, we are going to talk about and actually watch and go over some things that actually happened in Game 4 from an offensive perspective that I did not like, and I want to sort of dive a little bit more into that. But before I do get into that, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button as well. Turn on those notification bell icons, and that way you will know when I go live for Phillies baseball. We also do Sixers basketball, and we do Eagles football in here as well. We're going to be posting a lot of stuff about the Phillies during the offseason, and I wanted to do this overall because even though it sucks going back to watch the tape and look at the data and look at the analytics and that type of a thing, I feel like there's things that we can take away that we didn't necessarily see in the moment, and we can actually figure out just from the last game what does have to be addressed. Because with what they did show you in that last game, offensively speaking, I'm talking about. I'm not talking about pitching. I'm just talking about offense. But what they did show you was their true colors. That was their identity. And that's not what we expected, but there has to be things that have to be fixed. And I want to break down what the problems were, and that's what we're going to do right now. Can I just say that Baseball Savant and StatCast are clutch, man. They really, really are. All right, so here's what I'm going to show you, okay? I wanted to sort of dissect this, okay? We talked about how the Phillies offensively just were not taking pitches. I want you to look at this really closely. This is inning by inning right here. Ranger Suarez in the first inning threw 30 pitches. Okay, he had a total of 97. Jose Quintana had a total of 90, and he threw 17 pitches. Advantage Mets. 17-30. Next one. Inning number 2. Ranger at 23. Jose Quintana had 16. More pitches for the Phillies, less for the Mets. Next inning after that, 14 pitches for Ranger, 13 for Quintana. Again, I know it's only one, but still advantage Mets. Mets again. Inning number 4, 25 pitches for Jose Quintana and 12 for Ranger Suarez. And then we go into the 5th. 18 for Ranger, 7 for Hoffman, 15 for Quintana. Another advantage Mets. 6th inning, 21 for Hoffman, 11 by Estevez. That's 32. Reed Garrett came in. He threw 18 pitches in relief for Jose Quintana, who had 4 in that inning. So that's 25 for the Mets and 32. 32 for the Mets, 32 pitches that they've taken, and 25 that the Phillies took. So the Phillies essentially took less pitches in that inning. That's the 6th. 7th inning. Orion Kirkland throws 18 pitches. David Peterson throws 8. Every single inning. What they did was the Mets took more pitches than us. That right there is what went wrong. I'm not even in the 8th. The 8th inning, 12 for the Mets, 10 for us. So really, and of course in the 9th inning, Edwin Diaz throws 23 pitches. Okay? I just want you to look at that stat alone, because there's the reason why we lost. We didn't take pitches. Yes, we weren't getting on base, but we swung at a lot of things. And the Mets were just toying with us. And that right there is why we lost. I don't even have to break it down any further. I am going to, because there's more to do so. But in the first 8 innings, the Phillies had 164 pitches, and the Mets threw for just 131. That's just 8 innings on an even playing field. Now, they ended up having 154 because Diaz pitched the 9th. And we'll get to Edwin Diaz, and we'll get to that 9th inning in just a little bit. But there you go. no plate discipline at all whatsoever. That's an inning by inning breakdown of how many pitches the Phillies saw. They lost every single inning. Every single inning, the Mets saw more pitches than the Phillies did. That's sad. That tells me that overall, and it's not even just this game, this has happened throughout, it happened throughout almost pretty much the entire series. But that second part of the regular season, it really shouldn't surprise you because I'm sure that we can go through every single game and do the same thing that we just did right now, the same little exercise, and it would still be pretty similar. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. 8 hits for the Phillies, four singles. Or no, sorry, eight hits for the Mets, 4 singles, 3 doubles, 1 homer. They struck out 12 times. They batted .258. Phillies batted .143, only had 3 walks compared to the Mets 6, 2 doubles, 2 singles, and 4 hits. There you go. And they threw 164 pitches, and the Mets threw 131. They really, in totality, threw 154. It's even more sad that at the end of the game, the Phillies still had more pitches than the Mets did. So I just wanted to show you that real quick before I get into the next thing that I wanted to talk about, because I thought that that was a really good visualization of where everything went wrong for just the bats in totality. So that's thing number 1 I wanted to show you. During these 4 games, throughout the first 8 innings, this is a cumulative of the amount of pitches that both teams saw. The Mets saw 598 of their pitches throughout the first to the 8th inning in each of those 4 games out of 639 total pitches. And that makes sense because they didn't have to play in the 9th. They didn't have to hit in the 9th in 2 of those games, which means that in the 9th inning of both of those other games, they really saw 41. Phillies only saw 517 pitches in those first 8 innings throughout those 4 games. That pitching percentage average is 86%, which is honestly low. Mets had more homers in those first 8 innings. 6 homers. Phillies had 3. Mets had 5 doubles. Phillies had 3. Mets had more singles, 21-15. They also had more walks, 18-11. Pathetic, man. Absolutely pathetic. And that's what needs to change next year. If you're going to win playoff games, you need to take and see as many pitches as you possibly can, and you have to grind out at bats, and that's what the Phillies just did not do. The analytics even back that up, which is really sad when you really do think about it. The analytics actually are smart in this case because that's where the Phillies went wrong, offensively speaking. Again, we're just talking about offense. We're not talking about pitching. We're not talking about the bullpen. I'm just strictly focusing on the bats today. We can get to the pitching a whole nother day. But there you have it. There you have it right there as to how many pitches the Phillies really did see. 602 pitches. And they played in 9 innings in all 4 of those games. Mets only played 9 innings in 2 of those games. And yet saw 639 pitches. The data even backs that up. It's just crazy. It's crazy when you actually think about it. So those were just some pieces of data that I just wanted to show you because I thought it was funny how just the analytics to all that just sort of portrayed in the game. You know, sometimes the analytics don't add up to the eye test, but that right there was a big, big part of it for sure. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the situational hitting in Game 4 when we did have runners on base, and then we're going to dissect exactly what went wrong. Okay, that's what's coming up next, and I think that you're gonna really enjoy this because this, to me, is where we need to capitalize during the off season. This is why. This is going to be why I want guys like Jurickson Profar and just guys that can just find ways to get on base so that Bryce Harper is protected. We need small ball guys. We need guys that can just sort of do it all. We got to get on base somehow, some way, and we got to have guys that are fast. We can't be swinging for the long ball all the time. And you're going to see why that ended up coming back to bite us. Right now, we're in the top of the fourth inning, okay? And what ended up happening in this inning? Well, the Phillies finally got their first run. If you remember, the Mets actually had bases loaded a couple of times. Ranger Suarez got out of a couple of jams. And so top of the fourth inning comes, and Trea Turner, the Phillies are actually starting to find ways to get on base and work up Jose Quintana's pitch count. So Quintana throws 7 pitches to Trea Turner. He ends up grounding out. Bryce Harper then comes on and gets on with a 5-pitch walk. Nick Castellanos' first pitch, it's a double out over towards straightaway center field. Or actually, I think it was to left field. And then Bohm puts up actually a pretty good at-bat. He's heading the count 3-0. The count's now full, though. And then he grounds into a fielder's choice. Bad play by Vientos, so he's over at first. So it's an RBI fielder's choice as Harper did score. This is what happened when JT came on up to bat. He was the next batter. So there's 1 out, top of the fourth, 1-0 Phils. And I'm going to go with you things pitch by pitch. I'm going to be really, really quick here. All right. So here's Quintana still on the mound. All right. What's he going to throw him here? All right. He throws him a pitch that's in the dirt. Looks like it's a slider. So it's a 1-0 count, right? 1 ball, no strikes. What's the next pitch coming? That one's also in the dirt, right? So that's ball 2. So it's 2-0 now. And what's going to happen on this pitch? This man, literally, we're going to go back to that. Look at this pitch. Look at where this pitch is. Look at where this pitch is. This man literally gets in front of a curveball, pops it up, and hits it so shallow to right field that Harper can't score, or that Castellanos can't score. It's 2-0. What are we swinging at? You just took 2 pitches. This guy was working. You have the baton is passed to you. You can't swing at that pitch. That was a big out there. Next at bat. It's Bryson Stott, right? Okay. Bryson, first pitch. It's called strike. Don't blame him for not swinging at that. Pitch after that. What's going to come? That's a 77-mile-per-hour pitch. Looked like it was a curve. Outside. 1-1. Good take. Okay. 1-1. And then here comes another pitch by Quintana. It's a changeup, and Bryson just pops it out. Let's see where the pitch was again. Right there. It was way above that zone. Where is it? Look at where this is. Do you guys see where this is? Do you see where this pitch is? I wish I could zoom in on that. Do you see where that is? That's like at the top of the strike zone. It looks high. It's not a good pitch to swing at. I mean, come on. So that inning right there was critical. And they could not get a run home there. And that was one of the most disappointing things I saw. They actually did get home a run, but they should have gotten more than one. And they ended up, that was part of the reason why they ended up losing, just because of at-bats like that and at-bats like T.Realmuto had. Now we're in the 6th inning. Mets still haven't put up a run. Hoffman gets out of the 5th. 6th inning comes, Bryce Harper able to get a double off of Jose Quintana. After that, Carlos Mendoza's like, I got to make a move. I got to go to Reed Garrett. That's what I'm going to do. Castellanos puts up a 6-pitch at bat and strikes out against Reed Garrett. So there's one away. Harper still is over at second. Bohm then gets on with a walk. And good for him. After being behind in the count, able to draw a walk there. So that puts runners over at first and second. What happens after that is JT strikes out swinging. Okay? Harper's over at third. Now, I forget how he got over to third base, but he's over at third. And Bryson Stott comes up with 2 outs. Again, still runners over at first and second. Oh, sorry. Why did I say third? I meant to just say first and second. All right, anyhow. Regardless, here we go. Here is the pit. Here's the first pitch. Okay? Outside. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 pitch. Where's this one going to go? It's going to go down. It's a 4-seamer in 92. Thrown again by Peterson, who's coming in to face Bryson Stott. I forgot to mention that they just took Reed Garrett out. So it's a 2-0 count. It's 2-0 to Bryson Stott. Now, do you think that he should swing at this pitch right here? Well, there you go. The pitch is right down the middle. It is your pitch. It is your pitch. However, you're ahead in the count 2-0. You don't have to swing at that. You can still let it go by and just try to work up the count. Foul off some pitches. And he just grounds out over to first. End of the inning. Right there. Another rally killer where the Phillies actually had a chance to do something. So, there you have it. Another big blow in that inning. And that was really disappointing. Now we're in the 9th inning. Okay, we can't provide any sort of offense. We can't get things going in the 8th inning. And, of course, the Mets hit the grand slam, in that 6th inning. Bad decision by Rob to put in Carlos Estevez in that spot. And bad for Estevez not being able to produce. So nobody has scored ever since then. And the Phillies are down to their final 3 outs. Diaz is now pitching. Diaz did not look so good to start off the 9th inning. Phillies were patient. They took pitches. And JT walks on 5 pitches. Bryson Stott comes up. What does Bryson Stott do? Follows the leader. 5 pitches. Gets on with a walk. Cody Clemens puts up a pretty good at-bat. Good move for him to come on in the pinch hit. I like him in that spot. Came in for Wes Wilson. That's fine with me. Strikes out. 5 pitches. Marsh flies out on 4 pitches. So Diaz is starting to feel himself a little bit. He's getting back into the groove. And good for Diaz. Good for Diaz to get those 2 outs there. That means that the Phillies are down at their final out now. So it's all up to Kyle Schwarber. Season on the line. Last out. And Schwarber was like 0 for 9 against him. I want to say 0 for 9 with 7 strikeouts. I think that's what I said on the cast, which is just really crazy. He hasn't gotten a hit off of him. I know it's a lefty on lefty, but still, I thought that was really crazy. But here we go. First pitch. Where is it? All right, it's in there for a strike. Throws a slider in there. I'm fine with Kyle Schwarber taking that pitch. That's fine. Second pitch. What happens here? That pitch is outside. Good eye. Counts 1-1. This pitch here, that thing had a chance. That was in his wheelhouse right there. And he was just a little bit late. Let's see again. Yeah, just got out in front of it. One more time. Yep. Just got out in front of it. And then this is the last pitch. It's just going to be a 100-mile-per-hour fastball that whizzes on by Kyle Schwarber. He wasn't ready for it. And there you go. There you go. Mets go to the NLCS. And they would end up losing. But that last pitch was a fastball. And I didn't think Schwarber was going to catch up to it. But that slider was the pitch, man. That slider, I thought that he could have belted that thing. And it was just disappointing. They just could not come through. And when they needed to go to the long ball, they couldn't get that done, man. They could not get that done. And that raises concerns for me heading into the offseason. And it's clear to me now that I see that we need to get guys that are willing to get on base and then try to get guys that can just hit and try to have these players hit through the clutch. Everybody wants to hit the home run. That's the problem, is that everybody wants to swing for the long ball, and that's not how baseball in 2024 works. That's just not the case. They need guys that can create offense. And they could not do that. They have a nice, talented roster on paper, but the pieces don't gel. The chemistry doesn't gel for some reason, and it's because they're not utilizing the opposite field. It's because the manager is also making really bad decisions by not shaking up the lineup, by not being held accountable, and these hitting coaches are not helping them. The message is not clear. That's the bottom line. And I wanted to just show that to you and just give you some data to sort of back that up, because I think that it provides an interesting perspective on who we should go for during the offseason. And we'll talk more about that. But in regards to this, thank you all so much for tuning in. My name is Jason Joseph. This is Play by Play with JJ. Keep up with the Phillies offseason on here. And I will catch you all on the next one.